Welcome. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. We'll be getting started in about 5 minutes. Thank you for joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon, and evening, and welcome to TCIHC's final webinar in this May series. We'll be getting started in about 4 minutes or so please feel free to introduce yourself via the chat. We're looking forward to learning more about you all as you all learn more about TCIHC's quality assurance approach. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, evening. We'll be getting started in about 2 minutes. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, and welcome to the Challenge Initiative for Healthy Cities final webinar in its May webinar series on learning and impact from the introduction and scale up of proven family planning and adolescent and youth sexual and reproductive health solutions. We welcome you today and we look forward to doing some learning together. Today, we will introduce you to one of the proven solutions that we have worked with local government to implement. That is quality assurance approach, which is designed to ultimately lead to a client satisfaction with family planning service delivery. QA is about preventing errors in service delivery by deploying a quality management system along with prevention and safeguarding activities. India's National Urban Health Mission specifies dedicated attention and focus on bringing QA and services such as family planning across all service delivery points, including urban primary health centers. Before we get started with today's presentation on TCIHC's QA approach, I'd like to remind folks that TCIHC provides coaching support to local governments of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha, working with 31 cities covering 32 million city population and 15 million slum population across the 3 states. Please allow me to introduce you to today's speakers, my TCIHC colleagues from PSI India. Hitesh Sahani, Deputy Chief of Party for TCIHC, manages TCIHC's operations. Dr. Shikha Shrivastava is a consultant with PSI India. She previously worked as a senior advisor of technical services for PSI India and led the QA interventions under TCIHC. Debrata Bunya is the manager of programs for Berhampur in Odisha state. We welcome them today. And before we get officially started, I'd like to give you a little preview of the run of show. So the speakers will present for about 35 to 40 minutes. We welcome questions and we ask you to please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. This will help us to gather the questions and track them more efficiently so we can try to answer as many as possible at the end of the presentation. TCI Chief of Party Mukesh Sharma will also be available along with the speakers to respond to any questions that you may have. So the presentation will start with an introduction to the importance and guidance and process behind the QA approach, tips for implementing it, key considerations, and learnings to date. So right now, I'd like to then turn the microphone over to my colleague Hitesh.
Good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to all. I'm going to begin today's session expressing my thanks to the government of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, and National Health Mission for their tremendous leadership and support to TCIHC. I'm also thankful to all the city-level government officials, including chief medical officers, nodal officers, family planning and urban health, divisional program managers, district program managers, and urban health coordinators. My thanks to our donors, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Gates Institute at Johns Hopkins University for their continued trust and confidence in us. Next slide, please. So before we begin this webinar, let me take you back in time for a virtual tour of an urban primary health center when TCIHC had just begun operations. It was mid of hot summer in 2017 and UPSCs did not have running tap water. On the desk of medical officer lied a 9-month-old baby for vaccination, and the mother felt the need of washing her hands, but in the absence of same, just sunk her head quietly. Now let us come back to the present. Dr. Shekha, has this situation occurred during your visits too?
Yes, Hitesh. In fact, do you remember when you and I had visited one of the cities for a quality visit?
Of course, Dr. Shekha. I distinctly remember that clients had to return back as only one set of IUCD instrument was there and the boiler was not functional. The UPSC in fact used to get its instruments sterilized or disinfected from a nearby community health center. So based on above interaction, let us ask our audience on their observation, requesting all to please respond to this poll. So does a lack of running water, a dysfunctional boiler, and a shortage of instruments adversely affect the quality of services? So let's see the results. Oh, this is so overwhelming. 99% of you got it right. These are issues of quality as they determine family planning uptake and its continuation. Next slide, please. Additionally, some of the other elements of quality are choice of method, interpersonal communication, technical competence, information, follow-up and appropriate constellation of services. This is evident when we refer to the findings from the population-based survey conducted in 2018 in TCIHC supported cities called Output Tracking Survey. This was OTS 1, where the findings from this inform us that about 1/4 of the current users were informed about other methods that could be used. Only 1/5 of the current users were informed about possible side effects of methods and what to do when they experience side effects. To improve, it is foremost that we reflect on what should we stop doing, what should we continue doing, and is there anything we should start doing? Next slide, please. So what this slide essentially captures is the framework laid down by the government towards ensuring quality in healthcare. The committees are established at various levels, such as Central Quality Supervisory Committee at the national level, the State Quality Assurance Committee at the state level, and the District Quality Assurance Committee, that is DQAC, at the district level, to support the facilities to build capacities for assessment, implementation, and certification. National quality assurance standards are currently available for district hospitals, community health centers, primary health center, and urban primary health centers. Standards are primarily meant for providers to assess their own quality for improvement through predefined standards and to bring up their facilities for certifications. Certifications is provided against national quality assurance standards on meeting predetermined criteria. Some of the certifications awarded by government are Kayakalp, Lakshya, and NQS. Next slide, please. While the framework existed, however, there were a few implementation challenges. And today's webinar will focus on how TCIHC worked with governments of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha to strengthen the quality assurance program and the quality assurance processes for family planning in the 513 urban primary health centers across the 31 cities in 3 states. To establish quality assurance processes in these UPSCs, TCIHC city teams collaborated with the local city government under the leadership of chief medical officers to identify and address the key areas to bring about the desired changes, which include establishing urban family planning as a priority for district and state quality assurance committee, coordinated monitoring mechanism for urban health, improving quality assurance visits in UPSCs by district quality assurance committee, building capacities of UPSC staff on quality standards, and establishing a routine quality monitoring processes in the facilities. To know more about the TCIHC's work with the government to establish the culture of quality for family planning services in the UPSCs, let us welcome Dr. Shikha Srivastava. She retired from PSI India Country Office as a Senior Advisor Technical Services in January 2020 and she led the quality assurance work of TCISC and is best suited to elaborate on the various stages of our work. So Dr. Shekha, the city governments were seeking specific changes to build a culture of quality in the UPSCs leading to client satisfaction. How did TCISC respond to this ask?
Thank you, Hitesh. My greetings to everyone. Answers to your questions are detailed in the slides that we follow. The TCISC supported the 3 state governments and 31 city governments in change management, which is essential for sustaining a culture of quality. Along with city government, our strategy was to build a seamless process of periodic monitoring of quality at the facility level. The criticality of the strategy was to make the facility accountable for the process. Once quality assurance becomes a norm in the facility, it will spiral the whole change. We developed a system framework for family planning in adherence to the National Quality Assurance Framework. The framework is illustrated in this slide. Each of the urban primary health facility opting for quality improvement in family planning must follow these stages. Number 1, periodic assessment. 2, generation of scorecard. 3, gap finding and action plan. 4, formation of facility level quality improvement team. And lastly, the 5th, certification of the facility. The TCISC team worked with local city governments to strengthen all these stages. Next slide, please. Thank you. The strategy focused on making data points or observations visible for decision making for the purpose of ensuring quality in family planning service delivery and to facilitate the decisions at different levels in health system. Periodic assessment. The first step was to build a system of periodic assessment at the facility. This encompasses what are we assessing, when do we assess, who does the assessment, and who takes action on gaps identified. What are we assessing? We listed out a set of indicators very specific to family planning services in urban primary health centers. The short and crisp checklist was developed in line with National Quality Assurance Family Planning Standards. It captured 54 input indicators. By input indicators, we mean physical infrastructure of facility, availability of equipment and supplies, trained manpower, etc. And 21 process indicators like counseling process, method provision, documentation, etc. And 2 output indicators. 1, the method mix provided on family planning days, and 2, the number of IUCD and injectable clients in a month. Each of the indicators carried a score. Facilities that scored over 80% were classified as grade A that required very little support. Facilities that scored 60 to 79% were classified as grade B and required some support. Facilities that scored between 40 to 59% classified as grade C and that scored less than 40 as grade D, and they required significant support in terms of strengthening both input as well as process indicators. When should the assessment be conducted? The assessment day was fixed for the same day when the facility is conducting family planning fixed day services. Family planning days are fixed day services for spacing methods conducted in TCIHC cities. Once this was established, assessments were also being conducted on non-family planning days or routine days. Next slide, please. Now, who conducts the assessment? As per the National Quality Assurance Standard guidelines, staff at the facility under the leadership of medical officer should conduct the assessment. This capacity had to be built in among the facility staff. To demonstrate this, TCIHC inducted a cadre of coaches titled Field Program Service Assistants, or we call as FPSAs. FPSAs by qualification are trained staff nurses. They were further trained on urban health, family planning, and facility assessment process. Every month, the FPSA, along with the staff nominated by the facility, such as staff nurse or pharmacist, conduct the facility assessment, and the FPSAs, when conducting the assessment, also coaches the facility staff to score the facility on indicators listed as per the checklist. For every 10 to 15 UPHCs, TCIHC project assigned one FPSA. And the FPSA demonstration was for a fixed time period of 10 to 12 months. Next slide, please. Generation of scorecard. The next step is to compute the scores from the checklist. The slide that we are seeing is the grading when the program just launched the coaching in October 2018 for all domains: input, process, output, and overall. This is like a report card one receives after an examination, butterflies in the stomach, and an inherent excitement to know how the facility has fared. We do see this anxiety and excitement among the medical officers and facility staff. In the very first month of observation of 56 facilities from 11 cities, we observed on the day of FDS, 21% of the facilities scored grade A with score more than 80%, and 68% fell under grade B for input level indicators, whereas only 5% of facilities were found in grade A for the process level indicators. Next slide, please. Gap finding and action planning. Once the scorecard is released, the facilities deep dive to understand the indicators to which they have scored well and those in which they have scored poor. Here is an example of one such analysis from one of the facility. This particular facility scored well in the areas highlighted in green, but poorly in the areas highlighted in red. This is a crucial step as it supports UPHCs to take action for improvement. Next slide, please. Now, how to plan to improve the scores? Most often, the gaps are solved at UPHC level. Critical gaps beyond UPHC's influence are escalated to the chief medical officers for action, or sometimes even escalated up to the state level. The National Quality Assurance Program mandates periodic review meetings of both district quality assurance committees and state quality assurance committees, where the gaps may be discussed and support provided to the facilities. The data from individual UPHCs are aggregated by TCIHC to study state level policy changes that may be needed. Two critical action points that emerged were immediate need to improve infection prevention practices across all UPHCs and to activate quarterly review meetings of District Quality Assurance Committee to sustain the quality assurance process. Next slide, please. FPSAs worked with UPHC staff for a short period of 10 to 12 months, building their capacity to conduct the assessment by themselves. Did this strategy give results? Yes. In a short span of time, there were significant changes in the quality indicators for family planning at the facilities. Here is an example of how a facility transformed from grade C to grade A in 7 months. Thus, coaching provided by TCIHC program on periodic assessment, gap identification, action planning based upon the priority is supporting UPHCs in this transformational change. Next slide, please. Thank you. This slide presents the distribution of facilities across all 4 domains: input, process, output, and overall for the period between October 2018 and October 2019. The results in the chart show that facilities graded as A across 3 states have improved remarkably from 21% in October 2018 to 84% in October 2019. Similarly, for process level indicators, the percentage increased from 5% in October 2018 to 86% in October 2019. With regards to availability of basket of choices and consistent improvement in quality parameters, we also observed a similar change in these output indicators in terms of availability of method mix and uptake of IUCD and injectable methods on family planning days. These quality measures helped increase demand of family planning services, and we know through studies that quality measures do play a role in demand generation of family planning methods. Next slide, please. Building quality improvement teams. While the project demonstrated the process, it also supported the facilities to build its own capabilities to conduct assessments, analyze data towards action. As a result, quality improvement teams started forming in UPHCs. The quality improvement team, headed by facility medical officer, also constituted of facility staff and both technical and administrative, and including at least one frontline health worker like ASHA as per the guidelines. When TCIHC started working, none of the UPHCs in the intervention districts had quality improvement teams in place, and I am happy to share that within 1 year of intervention, 100% of UPHCs have functional quality improvement teams which meets regularly and take appropriate decisions. We must congratulate the city government and the medical officers who have brought this transformational change. Next slide, please. Quality certification program for public health facilities was launched by Government of India with the aim to recognize good performing facilities as well to improve credibility of public hospitals in community. At the first level, facilities are certified by District Quality Assurance Committee or DQAC following a visit by DQAC team members. During the intervention period, the program supported the certification of 513 UPHCs by DQAC members. This is a phenomenal success of the city government to put the UPHCs in priority and ensure certification of facilities for providing spacing family planning methods. Next slide, please. This slide summarizes the change management intervention that TCIHC has operationalized. Monthly facility level assessments coached by FPSA, analysis of checklists to identify strengths and gaps, scoring supported by TCIHC project management information systems, data insights discussed and actions items identified and prioritized, supported by TCIHC city teams, formation of quality improvement teams, and finally the certification. Keeping sustainability in mind, TCIHC supported the operationalization of Government of India's framework of quality improvement at the UPHC level for a period of 10 months with focus on family planning. We supported to strengthen the existing systems and to make them functional. The strategy was planned in such a way that TCIHC supported government in demonstration of these doable practices, which helped them visualize quality related data, which facilitated some key decisions at every level. It was a strategy, design, and government leadership which made this a sustainable approach. And now government is driving this efficiently with low or no external support. This summarizes the work of 3 state governments supported by TCIHC. We will now hear from Debabrata on a specific case study from city of Behrampur, Odisha. Thank you, and over to Debabrata.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sikha. I am Devrat, City Manager, Behrampur, Odisha. I bring greetings from the silk city of Odisha, Behrampur. It is one of the 3 cities supported by TCIHC in the state and has 7 urban primary health centers. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. All the 7 UPSCs scored grade A on all 3 components of input, process, and output in the last 5 to 6 months of quality assurance visits. Some noteworthy improvements in these urban primary health centers included maintenance of follow-up registers for both IUCD and injectable clients, counseling on side effects, and formation of quality improvement team. These quality improvement measures at the facility level led to certification of all 7 UPSCs by District Quality Assurance Committee for all quality parameters in family planning. Besides this, TCIHC also facilitated in the formation of Urban Health Advisory Committee, that is UHAC, for overall guidance on family planning and referral services in the city. With the family planning component already achieving excellence in quality, the facility staff work with TCIHC coaches to apply the same framework to build the quality in other aspects as well. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. The Behrampur City Administration did not limit itself to the quality improvement circle at the facility level itself, but aimed at the highest quality award for any private health facilities, which is the National Quality Assurance Standard, NQAS, and family planning forms a major component of this. The Behrampur Municipal Corporation, with its visionary approach, helped the city health department as well with some additional financial resources. For the year 2019, making UPSCs the first choice of treatment for people was the slogan taken up by the city government. In fact, all the UPSCs in the Behrampur were branded as AMA Clinic, which means our own clinic. This ownership by the city leadership helped in binding various stakeholders, including community, elected representatives, and in convergence of various departments towards the common goal of improving UPSC services. TCIHC matches this enthusiasm of government and supported in identifying gaps as per the NQAS guideline and finding solutions. Some of this included introduction of dedicated family planning counseling corner in each UPSCs, documentation of critical parameters and SOPs, infection prevention practices, and institutionalizing referral mechanism at each and every service delivery points. As a result, in 2019, 3 UPSCs of Odisha won the NQAS award. And can you believe, all these 3 UPSCs are from Behrampur. This was a big achievement. Not just this, all the 7 UPSCs won the Government of India Kayakalp Award, which promote illness, hygiene, and infection control practices in public health facilities. Another feather in the cap was added when Behrampur Municipal Corporation became the first civic body in Odisha to bag ISO 9001 certification for all 7 of its urban primary health centers. These certificates have helped build a positive image of UPSCs in the community, as is evident by the increasing patient load over a period of time. Thank you all for this opportunity to share this inspiring story of Behrampur. I now request Hitesh to share some more results and learnings from the implementation of quality assurance measures. Over to Hitesh.
Thank you, Debrat. Integrity, commitment, effort, and duration are the 4 key elements when we aim for transformational changes. The success story of Behrampur contains all these elements: the effort of both the city governments and the TCIHC project, the commitment from the local governments and the state government, the integrity of the facility staff, and above all, the swiftness and the duration in which these changes was brought about. So much to learn and so many more miles to go. With a completely charged up feeling, we'll move on to the results section now. So what this slide you see here, if you ask me, this slide should actually capture the leadership stories of a medical officers and their staff from 513 UPSCs. Well, slides don't give us that kind of a space. So here are some of the top line results. All the 513 UPSCs across 31 cities are now certified by the District Quality Assurance Committee for Family Planning Spacing Methods. All of them have their quality improvement committees formed and are self-initiating the process of assess, analyze, and act. Next slide, please. So additionally, to understand if these measures did bring about a positive experience among women who are currently using a modern contraceptive method, the project measured this change through a population-based household survey called as Output Tracking Survey 2. So if you recollect, in the beginning, we have shown the OTS 1. Now we have done the OTS 2 exactly a year later. The first round of OTS survey was conducted in September 2018 and the second round in September 2019. TCIC measured 4 quality indicators as part of this survey. Were you informed about other methods? Were you informed about the side effects? Would you refer a friend to a facility? And lastly, would you return to facility in future? During the 1 year period between OTS round 1 and OTS round 2, all these 4 quality indicators have shown significant improvement. The proportion of current users who were informed about other methods improved from 26% in OTS 1 to 37% in OTS 2. Similarly, current users who would return to the facility in the future for family planning services increased substantially from 48% to 65% for the users of all methods. Next slide, please. So here are some of the snapshots and web link of most significant change story on improving the quality of family planning services throughout Bhopal and beyond. TCIC has codified the quality assurance measures in form of a high impact approach tool. You can access them on www.tciurbanhealth.org. I would like to read a quote from this published story from Bhopal. The Assistant Program Manager, NUHM Bhopal, reflects a sense of pride and achievement and the change it has brought about. She says, "I'm still amazed how a single QA checklist became the reason for how we improved the quality indicators of urban facilities. Quality improvement is not a static concept. Hence, we intend to continue these processes to improve quality of healthcare as it is essential for increasing the client's trust and satisfaction." Next slide, please. 18 months later, we are still learning and maturing, but now we have a robust process that is truly providing value to governments. In that time, we have learned and observed most significant lessons. At state and city governments across nations are strengthening the quality of care elements in family planning. TCI in HC India affirms its commitment to supporting city and state government efforts to improve family planning quality. We are confident that the efforts of facility staff of the 513 UPSCs across 31 cities is resulting in women being able to voluntarily choose a family planning method of their choice and have a positive experience and recommend the services to others. My deep gratitude to the medical officers of all the 513 UPSCs of 31 cities who are the true leaders of this change management of ensuring quality in family planning service delivery. My call out to all the TCIHC city managers from 31 cities and the program medical team for their passion and hard work to drive this change. Thank you. Over to you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, my esteemed colleagues. That was a fantastic presentation on our learnings to date about the QA process. We've received a number of questions that have come in, and one actually being one that I had as well. So great minds think alike. We have the question that, wow, it's a great teamwork achievement. Any challenges for the big achievements?
Oh, yes. I think as we started the journey, there were a lot of challenges. And at the time of inception, there was no established system of quality assurance at especially the urban primary health centers, specifically for the family planning services. There were gaps in the infrastructure, supplies, the standard protocol for family planning services. And overall, if you were to say overall facility and system ownership was required. So once we demonstrated through the entire strategy and having the checklist and ensuring that within the facility, there's a champion who owns the system in terms of ensuring the quality processes are executed. The review mechanism was established in terms of, regular DQAC meetings, as well as the quality improvement team at each of the facilities. So these helped us, so these were some of the challenges and how we overcame here.
Thank you so much, Hitesh. And that actually really reflects a comment that Oying shared that he really liked from the case study on Berhampur, where this slide, where it shows AMA clinic, that he said he really likes the system ownership slide. It represents a comprehensive approach, and the AMA branding reflects this approach. So what you were saying about really needing system ownership and leadership. So that's fantastic. We have a number of other questions specific to the checklist. And so one of the questions is there any different checklist from for NQAS under family planning program, or is it the same that you are using in UP under NHM for UPHCs?
Yes, Lisa, I can answer this question. Actually, the NQAS, the concept of checklist development for the family planning was that NQAS has many components across many thematic areas that includes family planning. So the quality is a gradual process. So we taken one component only. So what we did, we made a short and crisp checklist, but the strategy was to make the checklist as per the TC, already existing NQS checklist. The NQS checklist is there that has the checklist number 5 for family planning. So base of the checklist is that only, but only thing is that it has been made more crisp and short and includes only family planning components so that it is easy to go step by step.
Perfect. And this is kind of possibly a follow-up to that, is how can we use the synergies of, and I apologize, I might say this incorrectly, Kayakalp guidelines with the NQAS guidelines to make a comprehensive checklist? Do we have the same in hand?
Actually, the checklists are different. Then Kayakalp, the components which are taken are mainly for cleanliness, infection control, and upkeep of the facility. It focuses mainly on government's Swachh Sarvatra Abhiyan, that is for cleanliness only. So it includes only few indicators. And in NQAS, we have taken several indicators based upon the functional areas of the facilities. So for UPHC, it was very difficult to take the departmental checklist, and they modified the checklist on the thematic areas according to the jobs and responsibilities provided at the UPHC. There is a checklist for NQAS separate and for Kayakalp separate.
Thank you. That's really helpful. And how can we ensure privacy during family planning counseling, especially during outreach activities? And I assume the outreach activities mean the urban health and nutrition days and the ORC camps.
During outreach camps or UHND days, the counseling was actually happening up to some level, like for mobilization of clients for the facilities. And if the client opted for only spacing methods like condoms or pills, they were distributed. And if the client opted for like IUCD services, then she was referred to UPHCs. As far as privacy is concerned, actually it is basically between the service provider and client to make the overall environment private. Like if you are speaking in such a way that it is audible to only client and it is of concern to only client, then also it's okay. Because you cannot have a separate space or separate room for counseling. It is like maintaining overall atmosphere of privacy so that the interaction between client and provider is like private.
Thank you, Dr. Chika.
I think,
Mukesh, or Hitesh, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think Devrat can add a little more, and that we in Orissa specifically and in some of the other cities as well, now this concept is catching up, that we have a family planning counseling corner, which is the
Corners, yes.
dedicated and a segregated space where the, you know, the family planning clients are counseled and serviced. So this is a dedicated as well as a segregated space within the UPSCs, and this is very, very common. In fact, all UPSCs in Orissa have it, and now we have also this concept catching up in UP and MP as well. However, I'll like Mukesh to add on this as well.
Yeah, thanks, Hitesh. And Lisa, you asked about the privacy in outreach services, especially urban health and nutrition day and outreach camps. So at urban primary health centers, this was a challenge, but we are mitigating that with the government. And at most of the places now, there is family planning counseling room, or even if room is not there, so UPSC is having that infrastructure where you can do the counseling separate, one-to-one counseling with the persons. At the community level, yeah, it's a challenge because at the time of Urban Health and Nutrition Day, there are 30 to 40 women, kids, they're coming. And at outreach camps, there are more than 100. But the role of ASHA is very critical here, and they are oriented and trained on that when they are visiting household, they are doing one-to-one counseling through their interpersonal counseling system. So that is very much confidential between two persons or couple and ASHAs. They bring those clients at UHND and ORC if they want, they need some specific support from ANMs, auxiliary nurse midwives, and they make sure that ANM is talking to the client separately and with confidentiality. But there is not much counseling at UHND and ORC, but more at when ASA interacts with the woman at home.
Thank you for that clarification. That's helpful. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add to that, Debrata?
Yeah, I mean, the family planning corners in UPSCs are now scaled up in all over Odisha state, and dedicated funds are given in the PIP, Program Implementation Plan, from the government. So that's a good initiatives of the state government as well as government of India. In addition to that, in UHNDs as well, we have started, initiated some features of client kind of privacy, such as putting curtains and having some kind of a space wherein persons can talk, one ANM and the client. So that's how we had tried our level based in having this privacy, but definitely it's a concern.
Thank you very much. In terms of, we have two kind of follow-up questions as it relates to say actual service delivery and kind of counseling. So one is, how to psychologically counsel a patient related to a side effect of Entra and IUCD in spite of having day problems too. So I don't know if that's something we want to cover here or if we should follow up offline. Do the panelists have a preference?
I think the question is basically focusing how to counsel about the side effects of Antara and IUCD.
Yeah.
So it's for any method specific counseling, it is very important to tell the side effects to the client beforehand, because if client is aware of all the problems which are expected, she is mentally prepared to face them very well. And she also gets the information about when it is more alarming. Like when there is more problem, then she can come to the facility and seek the consultation with the provider or any expert. So telling counseling is very, telling side effects is very important. Either you provide any, I think for any service, maybe it IUCD or maybe for the Antara, especially for bleeding problems. Like in IUCD, most of the women face some kind of bleeding problem for a few months. And similarly for Antara also, there are bleeding problems, and maybe it often ends up in the stopping of menstruation period. So that is sometimes the woman is like disturbed. So all these things need to be told to the client beforehand, show that she is mentally prepared and does not visit facilities more often unnecessarily.
Great. And this is also kind of, I'd say, in line with that question. What are the procedures and family planning services where sterilization is required during the procedure?
Pardon?
What are the procedures in family planning service delivery where sterilization is required, like for the procedure?
I think it's for women, it is female sterilization. Mostly, baby, it can be a laparoscopic sterilization or an abdominal tubectomy. And for the men, it is no scalpel vasectomy, that is NSV. These
So,
are
and it might be IUCD. So I think the question is more of like sterilization of equipment, potentially. Like when is that required? Go ahead, Mukesh.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, you know, for both the sterilization, male sterilization and female sterilization, and again, different type of sterilization like postpartum sterilization, post-abortion sterilization, interval sterilization, there is a standard operating procedures defined by Government of India in its quality manual. And that includes the client eligibility, who is eligible and who is not, and pre-operating procedures, what different tests are required to do, and you have to be eligible on all those tests. Then during the these operations, and post-operative procedures. So there is a full guideline available, and it can be accessed at government website, TCI's websites. It's there because it's a long thing. So eligibility criteria itself is a long topic.
yeah, there is a detailed guidelines.
But yeah, detailed guideline is available.
Great. And then in terms specifically of the quality assurance approach, we got a question about how after a planned assessment, if quality indicators fail to be met as per the checklist, what directions do you suggest for purposes of improvement? My guess is it's how do you devise the action plan, and how easy is it to carry that out?
Actually, it depends upon the indicators which are identified and how important, how to prioritize that. For example, if we take for introducing injectable contraceptive services at UPHCs, once it was started at UPHCs, we identified that there were no trained providers in the UPHCs. So it became very important to get the providers trained for the providing injectable services so that they can efficiently and safely provide the services. So this is like one example. So it depends upon the type of the gap identified, and based upon that, the improvement is done. Like during my presentation, I told that there are many things which are solved at the UPHC level only. For example, if there is problem in process of counseling, maybe the attitude of provider or something like that. So it can be just discussed and reinforced at the UPHC level only. And suppose if there is problem of inavailability of instruments or boilers or some bigger things, then that cannot be solved at UPHC level, then that needs to be escalated at district level or district quality assurance committee, so that procurement process, etc., for instruments can be done. So I mean to say that it depends upon the indicators or gaps which have been identified, and most of the gaps are usually solved at the district level.
Great, thank you for that. And I also got a great work, TCIHC. How do these results compare with other UPHCs not directly supported by TCIHC? How is diffusion taking place, if at all?
Requesting.
So I can take this question,
Yes.
Lisa. This is
Great,
Mukesh.
thank you.
So yeah, I mean, diffusion is important. If something is going well and giving a very good result, how to scale that up? And that is the purpose of any of the program, including TCIHC support. And government is very, very efficient and effective doing that, because government is having a huge infrastructure, huge manpower, and huge resources. So if you see the high impact approach tools, so we developed high impact approach tool on quality assurance. It was field tested, and we took the inputs from chief medical officers and some other officers, including urban health officials. And that tool is endorsed by all 3 state governments. So that tool is ready to be used. So if you want to improve family planning services at your facility, there is simple 4-page tool available, and you have to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 to achieve those indicators. But what Dr. Shikha said is most important, Lisa and everyone, that what to be improved is very important. And to know what to be improved, there is, data has to be visible. Okay, these 1, 2, 3, 4 things need to be improved. And again, categorized in 3 categories: certain things which can be improved at the facility level, like chlorine solutions or gloves and other things. Certain things need to be rectified at the city level when CMO takes decision, like training or supply of some equipment and all these things. And certain things comes up to state level, maybe major supplies and major type of training kind of thing. So what to improve is very important, and TCIHC with government focused on that.
Thank you, Mukesh. And I think that gets to one of the questions about please enumerate the critical factors that can never be compromised. And I think that gets back to maybe the steps in the process. But do you see, are there any other kind of critical factors that can never be compromised in terms of rolling out a quality assurance approach?
So Dr. Shikha may add in this, but just to mention that if you see the checklist which Dr. Shikha talked about, it has different components, and one component said that the critical indicators. So those are the indicators which never be compromised in any type of services, family planning services we are providing. And there are a set of things. So critical and then minimum, and all these together makes one checklist. Dr. Shikha, you can add on this.
Yeah, actually the checklist which was developed was really very short and crisp. So, but few indicators are there which are actually critical, both in input as well as in process. Like in input, it is very important to have at least 2 to 3 sets of IUCD instruments available on family planning days. Once you are expecting about 4 to 5 clients to be coming, maybe they cannot, or any family planning day, when clients are coming in numbers, then at least you should have 2 to 3 sets of IUCD instruments ready. So this was the critical. And for sets also, all the instruments has its importance. I remember one of my field visit in the beginning, once I asked the medical officer to show the IUCD instrument sets. Actually, once I saw the tray, I was just shocked, because in that set, there was only a speculum and one valvulum and one anterior vaginal wall retractor and nothing else. And then she showed me very calmly and quietly that this is the instrument set. So what I mean to say that the complete instrument set is very important. Like infection prevention equipments are very important, like bleaching powder should be available for decontamination of the instruments. Appropriate boiler should be available. Like once we started working, there was a very small boiler in which instruments cannot be dipped. So appropriate boiler or autoclave should be available. That is a critical thing. And similarly, in the processes, providing informed choice is very critical. Telling method specific counseling, including the side effects and follow-up advice, those things are very critical. So these are few examples which are we highlight in the checklist as critical. And since it was very short, so we had taken very, very important things in the checklist, which is actually very crucial.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shika. And Oying also supports the idea of the checklist. So he commented that while checklists may sound simple, it is actually quite profound. When this idea was first introduced at Hopkins Hospital more than 20 years ago, it revolutionized quality of care. A book was written about this, and the Hopkins experience has been followed with adjustments by many hospitals. Interestingly, one of the findings is that different cadres of health professionals like nurses in the case of Hopkins were able to prevail on doctors to follow the checklist in a way that was empowering the system rather than dependent on one influential member of kind of the hierarchy. So very interesting points. And we have a question that might have been slightly answered, but I think it might be good to reinforce. Is this a separate FP checklist available only for UPHCs? The checklist that was developed for the QA approach, is this applicable to other levels of the health system, or is it specific for UPHCs?
Yes, so this was, yeah, Lisa, so this was a separate checklist developed, and this was, a simplified version, which was very, very critical and crucial for delivering the quality family planning services. However, once this was done, now, when the government is actually implementing and leading at the UPSCs, they are also taking up their own checklist. And that is what, the Devrata presentation, it came out when the NQS certification was awarded to certain UPSCs. So, because then in that case, they have to adhere to all the parameters and that are defined in the NQS checklist as well. So now, it's gradually graduating to that level that once they've done the simple checklist, they're even moving forward ahead with the government checklist, which is even more comprehensive. Dr. Shika, if you'd like to add something on this?
I think it's clear.
Great.
Because
I think there is one point to be added, Lisa and everyone. Just think about a two scenario. One scenario is we are ensuring, and government is ensuring, all the quality parameters which get eligible for NQS and Kayakalp and all other quality parameters, and then start providing services. So, for example, NUHM, National Urban Health Mission, started in 2013, and many of the facilities started getting NQS and Kayakalp in 2018, 2019, and 2020. Means it took 5 to 6 years to reach to that level because it's a very gradual process. But you cannot keep clients waiting for 4 or 5 years to get quality at that level and then start service. So what we did with government is we brought some indicators, family planning indicators from different checklists, and we said that, okay, let's start with family planning quality assurance, and then gradually moving to for Kayakalp and for NQS and NQAS and all. And that's why there is a one checklist which is 100% influenced by NQS and Kayakalp checklist, and but separated for family planning. We did this very quickly. As Dr. Shikha mentioned, that 8 to 10 months of the strategy, it was done very quickly, and you can see the results, the certification, the NQS, the Kayakalp, and at the same time, clients also got the services as per their need. So that I wanted to make the point.
Thank you very much. I think that's a great closing remarks in terms of how this is kind of activating the system in the quality assurance kind of food chain as a whole. So this is a great starting point that has been really quick in getting results and kind of getting UPHCs and stakeholders interested in going above and beyond even the family planning, service delivery kind of quality assurance measures. We weren't able to get to all the questions. A number of them actually relate to family planning service delivery, like the guidelines. So we'll make sure to follow up with pointing to where those guidelines are in the toolkit, as well as there are a few questions related to if any of the guidelines have changed during coronavirus or COVID-19. So those will be things that we'll do our best to follow up with. But because we only have 1 minute left, I'd like to sincerely thank the TCIHC team, not just the presenters today, but for the last few weeks. I think this has all been an extremely valuable learning experience for all of us to learn about engaging first-time parents and the importance of influencers and the urban ashas, the male engagement approach and strategy, the strategies for improving data for decision making, and then now quality assurance. This has been an extremely rich month of sharing and learning, and we'd like to thank you all, those who've joined us and shared your questions and listened in and shared your experiences, as well as for our gracious presenters and sharing the experiences that they've had working so closely with local government to make this all truly happen. So thank you so much for everyone's time and attention, and we'll make sure to be following up with a blog post that includes the audio recordings for each of the webinars and the presentations. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we look forward to engaging you in more webinars in the future. Please stay healthy and safe as we move into the next few months.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good evening.